the forbidden house. I swear to you, I saw Thom's face melt like wax. His skin bubbled, his eyes rolled back, and then, just like that, he was gone. I still hear his screams when I close my eyes. It started as a school trip. 5 of us, me, Thom, Janet, Fred, and Judith, went with our history teacher to a remote village in Ogun State. The trip was for our project on ancient Yoruba traditions. The village was small, quiet, and eerie, like time had forgotten it. We were supposed to interview the elders, take notes, and leave. But teenagers are stupid, and we were the worst kind of stupid. As we walked around, we saw an old, crumbling house at the edge of the village. It looked abandoned, the wood rotten, the thatched roof caving in. There was a large red X painted on the door. An old man sitting nearby shook his head. "Don't go near that house," he warned. "It is forbidden." That should have been enough for us. But Thom, being the idiot he was, laughed. "What, is it haunted?" The old man's face darkened. "People who enter never come out the same." That was all Thom needed to hear. He turned to us with a grin. "Let's check it out." Janet hesitated. "Maybe we shouldn't." But peer pressure is a hell of a thing. We followed him inside. Inside the house. The air was heavy, thick, like it was pressing down on us. It smelled of damp earth and something rotten. The walls were covered in strange carvings, eyes, mouths, faces twisted in agony. I wanted to leave immediately, but Thom and Judith laughed and ran deeper inside. "Nothing scary here," Thom called. Then we heard it. A whisper. Faint but clear. "Leave." Judith froze. "Did you hear that?" Janet grabbed my hand. "Let's go." Then the door slammed shut behind us. It was pitch black. I couldn't see my own hands. The air turned ice cold. Someone, Fred, I think, started banging on the door. And then Thom screamed. I spun around, but I couldn't see him. His voice was coming from everywhere at once, like the house itself was swallowing him. And then, silence. When the darkness lifted, Thom was standing in the middle of the room. But he wasn't, right? His body twitched, his mouth moved, but no sound came out. His skin started bubbling, melting, dripping like candle wax. I watched in horror as his face slid off his skull. His eyes boiled and popped. Judith screamed and ran. Fred followed, yanking at the door. It wouldn't budge. Then the whispers came again, louder this time. "Stay with us." Judith dropped to her knees, gasping for breath. I can't breathe." She clawed at her throat, choking on something invisible. I watched as her skin turned gray, her veins darkened, and then, just like that, she stopped moving. She was dead. The escape. Fred and Janet were sobbing. I grabbed them, shaking. "We have to get out." The walls started shifting. The faces in the carvings moved, their mouths opening wide. Something, an invisible force, grabbed Fred. He screamed as he was yanked backward. His body twisted, his arms bending the wrong way. Bones snapped. His eyes widened in terror before he disappeared into the darkness. I was next. I felt something cold wrap around my legs, pulling me down. I screamed. Then, suddenly, the door flew open. Janet and I didn't think. We ran. We didn't stop running until we reached the village square. The old man was waiting for us, his face grim. "You went inside, didn't you?" he said quietly. We nodded, shaking, crying. The house does not forgive, he murmured. You must leave. Now. We didn't argue. We didn't ask questions. We just left. The aftermath. The school reported Thom, Judith, and Fred as missing. The villagers never searched. They already knew the truth. Janet doesn't talk about it. She refuses. She moved away, changed schools. Me. I see them. In mirrors, in shadows, in my dreams. Their melting faces. Their empty eyes. And every night, I hear the whispers. Come back.